How's it going, everyone who is watching? Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to turn off the audio. I have a debug volume reduction, but for some reason, stuff still seems to play the same amount. If I didn't do a hard refresh. Okay, yeah, it's working. That's probably the issue. 5.1 and see how that sounds. All right, so I was doing like refactoring, and one of the issues is none of the items seem to show up in the item bar. I'm not really sure what I broke there. So we could try to fix that. This item bar is the class that kind of holds the information of how to render out the inventory. And if you go down here, a bunch of hard-coded nasty logic to get stuff displayed, but it works. Okay, why is this still so loud? I don't know why the zombies are so loud still. It's a little bit lower. All right, so how's this work? This basically renders out every slot. I think this could probably be a function just to make it a little bit cleaner. How do you do refactoring again? Let's see. Extract to inner function. I'll say render slot. All right. Just so it's a little bit easier, I guess, to understand what's going on here. What else is this doing? This is saving the context, setting the transform. You know, one thing that would probably be good is like everywhere I'm calling render, which would probably happen in the main game. Client entity. You know what? I'm not going to do that right now. I'm trying to figure out why this isn't showing up. So let's render out the inventory. Seems as if maybe that's not getting updated on the client side. Okay, we got just the knife in his inventory. Pick up some new stuff. Supposed to add it. Yeah, so it's almost like the player inventory is not getting serialized to the front end, maybe. That's my first hunch. Because it's actually there. When you like click the item, it switches over to it and you can drop it. So it's like a front end issue, not getting the right information. So let's go to my WebSockets. Go ahead and just do a hard refresh so I can find the right one. And then over here, it's probably too small to see. Make sure this looks good. Okay. So over here, when I pick up a item, for example, let's just go here and press E. There we go. Game state update, removed entities. Interesting. Hmm. Where did I break this? So I made a lot of changes. Probably too many. So I could always stash and just start over. Like, I think there's an issue with how I'm doing something. Yeah, I'm actually stash all this and just start fresh. Why not? All right, let's just start fresh for people watching. What's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, thank you, Irrational Pie, for becoming a premium member. Have you ever used this as an alternative to the GitHub? My next company uses it. Nope. All right. What's up, Brandon? Let's try to start fresh. I made a lot of changes and like I had bugs, and I feel like maybe starting a stream with a bunch of broken code isn't the most entertaining, or like you can't really follow along. So, hey, thanks for the follow. We're gonna go to debug real quick, and I just want to turn down the volume on some of this stuff. It's just too loud for me, at least. I don't know, like distracting. A little bit better. Okay, so one of the issues with this game, I made a video about performance on trying to make stuff a little bit faster, but when you're building on a game server, there's a tick rate, right? Every so many milliseconds, you try to run through all your entities and like update everything. The issue with that is that once you get over a certain threshold, like if your tick rate for your server is 20, and it takes 50 or 60 milliseconds to update all your entities, basically your server starts lagging and like the gameplay is just a little unbearable. So the goal is to make the performance of every game loop to be under a certain threshold. So that's what we're going to try to improve a little bit today. It's working pretty well. If you notice here, I started to match out locally. There's a decent amount of entities all over the map. And if you look over here, there's like 8,392 entities, and it's taking an average of 4 seconds, 7 seconds. Oh, sorry, not seconds, milliseconds. So 11 milliseconds, 7 milliseconds, which is pretty good. I mean, I think my threshold with 20 tick. Let me just do something real quick. Let's see. So I could do like 100 divided by 20 gives you 50. Okay. So I had to keep stuff under 50 milliseconds for it to be like performant enough. And right now it's doing pretty good. And if I were to try to spawn a bunch of zombies, that could also be something. If I go to the map manager here. Actually, no, it's called the game master. I think I have like some configuration there of how every round goes. So like when you're on night 1, there's a certain amount of zombies that spawn and a certain percentage. So you might get 60% regular zombies, 25% fast, 15% big zombies. That's my current strategy for like trying to progressively make the game challenging as the nights go on. But we're going to go ahead and just set this to like min total zombies as 100. And then we're going to go to the configuration here. And I want to set this to like a 1 second for a day. Okay, so right when I spawn, I should see a bunch of zombies spawn. Just to shorten that feedback loop of actually like doing development. All right, so we got 100 zombies in the game right now. Okay, and I noticed a decrease in the playability, like it actually started lagging a little bit. And if we were to go and look at how long this update took, and just let them kill me. Go back to that. All right, if we look at how long the update took, hopefully I didn't lose it. I think I just lost it because I cleared. Okay, let's do this again real quick. Did it not save? What's going on here? Let me just stop this. There's like a little bug in the server I gotta fix where sometimes it just like crashes. Like right here. Why did this crash? So we might have to look into that too. I think it's spawning zombies too fast. That's like a very strange issue. I think we just discovered the bug. Yeah, okay. If you set this too low, the game crashes because zombies spawn before full initialization or something. I guess that's the issue. I'll put a comment there. In fact, I'll put it above. Why not? Okay. So the point is, I was trying to spawn 100 zombies and see like what the average update time is. Okay, so when the night started, it probably spawned 100 zombies. And we're looking at average time of 10, max update time of 35. Okay, so that's like our baseline. And another way you can kind of figure out performance too is you can go to like your server, so like wherever your game loop is, and you can start adding console times if you want to around certain things. Like I know this one for a fact is probably going to take the longest to update. So you can kind of like dive in to individual functions and just quickly see like, okay, how long does it take for this thing to run and update all the entities? Looks like it's around 4 milliseconds, 3.5 milliseconds. Okay. So there's probably some optimizations I can do inside of this function. I'll put a comment so I remember. So like an update is averaging 4.1 milliseconds. We can improve this, I think. And then we can keep on just like figure out, I think another place that might eat up a lot of our time is like this cleanup stage. So you could put a little console log there and run it. Okay, so cleanup is taken like 6 milliseconds. So again, we have two places where it's obviously eating up a lot of our milliseconds. This one seems to take more than this one. So I would probably say let's focus on this and really narrow in the scope of like what are we trying to debug? Because we don't know which one of these methods takes the longest. I mean, you can bring up the profiler. I think that'll probably be a better approach. I'm just a noob at it. So what I like to do is just literally just cut this out and just, I know my code, so I'm pretty sure this is the issue right here. This is probably eating up a lot of the time. But you simply just rerun it, wait 5 seconds. In fact, I could probably make this like 3. I think I just worked with 3 before. Okay, so you see it kind of like jumps up. This is when the zombies spawn. So this is pre-zombies. I know the game server runs in about a fraction of a millisecond, right? But after you spawn 100 zombies, there's like pathfinding going on. There's updates that the zombie logic has to do. And it takes time to do that stuff, right? But the cleanup steps, I know there's some improvements here. So this is taken, I'm going to do the max just so like, we'll do like this one. Here we go. Okay. Let me check chat real quick. How you guys are doing? Do you have one singular server for the WebSockets? Right now, I only have one server. So like when you go to survivethenightgame.com, connecting to that one server, if someone crashes it, he crashes it for everybody. And it's on the East Coast too. We are using interpolation. So like when your entities move around the screen, it tries to smooth out their movement to where they need to be. And the further they are away from their target, like let's say your server lags up for a little bit, it'll interpolate faster, I believe. And then also I put some logic in there to automatically just teleport to where it needs to be if it gets too far away. That's in case like you're super laggy. You don't want to watch an entity interpolate from here all the way up to there where the server is and the client already knows about it, right? So you want to just like teleport it, you know? Anyway, what type of contributions are demanded for this game? I'm looking for like features, not features. I'm looking for like, you can add weapons, items, gameplay mechanics, traps, base building mechanics, new zombie types, skins on the player, and just little minor tweaks like I don't know, animations when people fire, stuff like that. Could you try running it with bun? The results will probably... Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't even think about bun yet, but I probably should. What does the cleanup do? The cleanup runs through the spatial grid and it deletes everything. Like the hackiest approach. So like, I'll come back to this question real quick. Maybe move pathfinding to worker somehow. No, I think that's the very last. I think the very last thing you should do is try to utilize more cores. The first thing you should do is try to figure out how to reduce the CPU usage of your game server first, because I guarantee you there's places in your code you just poorly wrote. Like I know there's places in my code right now where I'm looping through 8,000 entities when I only need to look at like 4 of them. And so like breaking the way you're storing the entities to allow it to use more memory but give you faster lookup. So like hash maps, sets, stuff like that. I think that's the first thing you should do. And if at that point you cannot improve the performance anymore, you should probably move it into a separate worker thread, right? Yeah, I don't know how these people make giant game servers, right? This is like an exploration for me. I've always been really curious, like when I was playing Counter-Strike Source 1.6 and CSGO, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1, all these different multiplayer games. Like I was reading through the source code and the documentation for how the Source engine works. I didn't understand it. It was too confusing to me, right? I'm a little bit older now, so hopefully I can understand it now. Yeah, we'll just play around. What does the cleanup do? Marco asked, which is what we're going to focus on probably. The cleanup, it loops through every single entity to try to find the ones that are server only. So that's kind of smelly because I know there's entities in this game that never update. For example, we have trees. Well, you can't see them now, but on the mini map, there's these little like gray things. We have static things that act as boundaries, so you collide with them, you can't enter those zones, right? And I think splitting that out so we have like a partition between dynamic and static entities could be a very good approach to speed this up. And again, this is an exploration. I don't know if we're going to be able to speed this up much, but we'll try. So, cleanup. We loop through all the entities. This literally just returns an array. So it's a reference to an array, and then we filter through and get the ones that are server only. Or sorry, the ones that are not server only. So honestly, like you could probably just add the debugger like I did, and then I'll just load up a JavaScript to terminal, and I'll just run this real quick so we can get a breakpoint and step through the code and understand what's going on. Why is there a breakpoint there? Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, it crashed. Why did this crash? I think it's because it hit the breakpoint, but then I didn't like continue fast enough. Okay, here we go. Entities. There's no entities in this game right now. Okay, let me just fix this bug real quick. This is going to screw me up. So, it's trying to spawn zombies, and then it crashes here because map is just not defined yet. So, I think the hackiest way, if the map is not defined, just like... no, I can't do that. Hold on. If the map is not defined, that means that we took too long when we started the day. We started the night cycle. So like in the server, there's like a handle day-night cycle, and there's like an internal timer that's tracking like when you need to invert if we're day or night based on the time left. If we're day, we go to start day. If not, we go to start night. If you look at this, this is just spawning the zombies. So I could potentially put a check here and say, hey, like, don't switch to night until everything is ready. It's just a matter of like I should probably also not. I should probably investigate if that's actually the issue. Like if I were to print out this dot map, I want to make sure this is actually the issue because I don't think this can be undefined. Okay, it starts as an empty array. If not on the grass. Yeah, it's almost like I should just do like that. I just don't think that's a good fix. You know? I do think the issue is related because I'm like starting the game and there's no players in it. And I wonder it's because I have logic that says when the first player joins the game, that's when the game actually starts. I believe. Hold on. I'm trying to think about how the logic kind of works. If there's no players in the game still kind of does its update loop. The question I should ask is, does the game keep doing an update loop, or should it just do nothing and then wait for the first player to join? Because like, if no one's in the game, why are we wasting CPU cycles, right? We could have like a bunch of these on a server and like never have to worry about CPU. So maybe that's the first thing with performance we should do to fix this bug, is figure out There's like a server socket manager. I'm going to be jumping around. This is like how you try to implement new stuff. You got to figure it out. So when we get a connection, excuse me, we have a server socket manager. When we get a connection, we go on connection, apply player connected, set up socket listeners. Okay, this is like listening for events from the player. And then it checks right here. If there are no players in the game, we start a new game. Okay, so we found one area that we could potentially change to make sure that the game server doesn't update. The total players is 0. Okay. Actually, this isn't where we want to. We want to go to server. We want to go to the update method. Go back over. Oops. So it's almost like if somehow I say like if the game is ready. If it's not ready, yeah, we'll just return. Let's start at a higher level and try to figure out a solution for this. So if the game is ready, we know the game is ready. I could just say like set game is ready. This could go to the top somewhere. Go ahead and just put it right there. Okay. Go ahead and group some of these things together. Have some managers here. Which ones are managers? Timer, day number cycle is day. Is game over? Is game ready? Game is ready. Okay. Let's just go ahead and say, yeah, that's probably good. Okay, so let's go back to the server socket manager, because when the client first connects and we are the first player and we start the game, this calls into the server and we can say this dot is game ready equal to true. So now we know that the map should be good. And I think also like when the last player disconnects, I could do some refactoring here. What just happened? If we didn't, just create a new game, create a new player. Okay. I thought there's a place where like, oh, on disconnect. Let's go there. On disconnect. If we are the last player, so honestly, is last player. Is game empty? I think is no players kind of reads a little bit better. I like doing this type of refactoring where like, this isn't important to me. This is like, this is a higher level. Okay. Is no players. And if I need to figure out, well, how's this derived? I can just look up. Versus if it's inside the if statement, like if you just put this stuff inside the if statement, I find it just makes it a little bit, like you have to get used to reading machine language versus this is reading like plain English. But sometimes you just can't figure out a good naming for it. Naming is also important too. Is server empty? I think that's fine. That's probably fine. So if there are no players, generate a new map. Is that what it's doing? Okay, make sure you understand the code before you start refactoring. If the player size is equal to 0, we generate a new map. Why do we do that? If the player's size is 0, we generate a new map. Hold on. Players is a map which on disconnect, we delete the players. Here's that size. I don't feel like we need this. I mean, like if the last person leaves, we should just say like this dot game server dot set game over true. Or sorry, set game ready to false. Like that will stop the update timer, right? right, let's just get rid of that debugger. I'm going to close that. Okay, so right now nothing is running, which is good. So if we change this to a 5, go here, player connected, it's running, eating at my CPU, it didn't crash, and then it stops. Okay, so I think we talked for a while to figure that out. I mean, it's probably easier than it should have been. But I think now that's a little bit better. And I don't remember why we're generating a new map. I think that's something I should verify. I think the new map it generates a new map when the first player joins. So I feel like that was irrelevant code. Maybe during an old refactoring, I just left it around. But yeah, let's see what we got here. Don't need that. Still spawning 100 zombies. We're doing some config stuff. Okay, that's another thing. If you set this too low, the game server crashes. So let's see if this is actually an issue anymore. I could set it to like 1 and see. Yeah, I mean, it's not crashing. Let's see, Olive Garden. Okay, that's good. Okay, I should commit this before I start doing more stuff. Is there anywhere else? Sorry, I know they're annoying. Okay, so the issue with committing, I don't have a branch. I think maybe I'll do a separate branch for this. I'll say improve performance of server. Go ahead and just add this stuff in. Oops, game and type today. Trying to improve the game server performance. Actually, that's not what I did in this one. I fixed an issue. Fixed an issue related to zombies spawning and crashing the game before the server is ready. So we had get push origin. Did I not track it? Oh my gosh. There. Alright, let me go check chat. And also, might just turn off the sound for right now. Oh man. But then there will be a cold start. Are you planning to add rooms in the future? Or maybe even on game servers, different ports they can relay to start them? I think that was part of the plan, adding game rooms, but I think for right now, I wanted to see how the whole, like, everyone in my community is going to play on the same server, but now I realize that some people are like in India and stuff, and their ping is going to be terrible. I might start building upon this and bring in like Kubernetes and try to somehow make videos about that content too, so I can have different game servers deployed on different regions. And then try to figure out how to hook that up in the CI/CD pipeline to automate that. So when you connect, it just automatically makes you join the closest region to you. Hey, well, thank you, Ronnie Renton. What's the VS Code theme? It's bearded theme stained blue. Is this the next big AAA game? No, I'm actually making a new standard. It's quadruple A. Okay, and this is probably going to be placed in that category for sure. No doubts about that. what do we want to do? We want to... Now, the problem with the commit I just did is I pushed a bunch of like console logs and all this stuff. So like when I'm doing a feature branch type of approach, pull requests become even more valuable. The catch, because if I were to push this configuration where like the day duration is 1, the game is going to be completely broken for you guys. All right, let's just keep going. I mean, I've been going for 30 minutes. Barely made much of anything. I fixed a bug, which is frustrating me. Let's do the cleanup stages again. And I have so many tabs open. My tests are broken for some reason. That's because I changed the configuration. What is this one? I'm going to close all these right now. All right. Cleanup. By the way, I tried doing the profiler right here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the VS Code profiler. I won't lie, I don't really use it as much as I should. But if you go here, down at the bottom, it says real-time performance. And if you click on this, you can like, oh, not this one, the record button. So you can actually start, take performance profile. And then I don't know which one I need to do, right? There's so many of these. Maybe it's the first one, node process npm. Maybe it doesn't matter. Let's just try the first one. I'll do a CPU profile. Profile, snapshot profile. I'll do CPU. I'll do duration. And we'll just say like 5 seconds and see what happens. I guess I'll just run it. Well, I have a breakpoint here, so I don't know how it's going to work with the profiler. Is that supposed to make a... Yeah, so it makes a profiler down here. And I think I did the profile the wrong thing because this would have information. So let's try this again. Record again. Let me close out of Steam real quick. Okay. I love full screen pop-ups that don't go away. All right, let's try this again. Let's go here. Maybe it's the last one that says server.ts. Maybe it's tsx, you know? It's so hard to tell. Okay. Here we go. Update has binary track entity. Like all this extra stuff that's like so unrelated to what I'm doing. Try this again. I don't know if this is the right process. Hit change entities. Okay, this must be it then. Probably still in better state than most games released by AAA studios these days. Does the hosted game work? For me, everything seems like it's in slow motion. Yeah, let me just double check real quick. Day 18. I think yeah, it's definitely broken. I should have spawned zombies. I don't know why there's no zombies anywhere. So I could fix that, but I don't want to do that. Go here. Let's go and put that on another monitor. I'm restarting the game server real quick so we can start with a fresh state. I don't know. There must be a bug where it just keeps running, and then at some point it can't spawn zombies anymore. I've also seen issues with like, it looks like there's people in the game, but they just never move. So I don't know if someone just has this open on their laptop and they've just been keeping this open for days. Like there's been 2 players in this game for like days now, and they just don't. I mean, they're trying to, maybe they're just like using up my bandwidth, and I should idle them. Yeah, we could do a little quick session if you guys want, and then I'll go back to trying to improve the performance. So some of the ideas is, it's kind of like a base building game. Let me know if my audio is too loud. Might just mute that for right now. So one of the main ideas here is you build a base with your, you know, my community or whatnot, people. My friend, you're picking up my walls, bro. Oh, shoot. All right, you got to explore. So there's 2 different concepts of this game. There's like the exploration part that you're supposed to do during the day. And then there's the actual like building the base during the day too with your friends so that you can actually like survive the waves of zombies that are going to come. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick up a bunch of weapons, and then I'm going to try to go back to base. I would like to be indicators. Like we can know when a where dead players are and stuff. Make sure you revive people when they die. I feel like that's like one of those things that you implement, but then people don't know about. Picking up walls. Why can't I pick up this wall? Here's a good strategy. So you build a wall like this. Yo, why can't I pick up the wall though? Okay, that's a bug. Yeah, I'll just write down some bugs as we're like playing this, because I think there's just a lot of them. I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna put them up here. All right, I'll do one more night and I'll go back to coding. I know you guys came to watch me code, not play a stupid game. Yo, how did I die so fast? Okay, I think, okay, here's another thing. Zombies shouldn't stack it because it causes one giant stack to clear out your team. So like, I don't know if you saw on that last night, but like there's like 7 zombies all stacked on top of each other. And then when they walk by you, you instantly die because they all swipe you at the same time. So I think I have to find a way to declutter them. They're all like stacking. That's a pretty good playtest. We're trying to figure this out. I think also the pings are messed up. So sometimes the pings go negative. You hold down tab, you can see the pings. Sometimes the pings become negative on the leaderboard. Dang, how did I catch on fire? I wasn't even near that. Anyway, you guys can leave a comment if you have a suggestion or something. I think someone said they wanted to have FPS displayed. Display FPS in game. By the way, there's like a 1,000 other to-dos down here. And I'm just going to prioritize the ones I want done at the very, very top. Aaron Mark, I guess I'd ask, where do you live? Because if you don't live in the US and your latency is high, you should try logpoint in VS Code for console logging. Also, I notice you have very many unused imports. There's a setting for removing them on save if you want. Oh, I need to find that setting then. Oh, we can revive users that are dead, but they disconnected. I think it's a bug, I think. All right, you guys are on your own with this game. I'll keep coding and I'll push changes. So if you want to play as I'm pushing changes and test stuff and then like leave a comment, that'd be useful. Let's go back to coding. Trying to improve the game server performance a little bit. Okay. So again, what I was doing is I was trying to figure out on the VS Code, how do you log performance? And I think I figured that out with the profiler. You can just like start the profiler whenever you want, and then you pause it or stop it, and then you'll get a profile text file or whatever this is, which you can then convert to a flame graph. This is an extension I use, and then you can get information about like your entire game and every update. So you can see, I'm guessing if I can get to the right zoom level, click and drag this. This is updating the entities, which is taking up about 1/3 of the time. It's doing a broadcast game state, which is taking up 5 of the time. And then anonymous. This is at the very bottom, the tracking the entities. And then update is doing all this entity stuff. So overall, the updates only take like 2.5 seconds, I think. But the whole update method takes some time. Get change entities takes a whole 1.25 milliseconds inside a broadcast event. And then clean up. I cracked my back, hold on. All right, cleanup is this anonymous part, I think. And so we could probably keep diving down that path of like making this a little bit better. So the first thing is this, the entity manager get entities. It's just returning all of the entities, even the ones that don't update. So I think I would rather say get dynamic entities, okay? And then we are going to go ahead and go to the entity manager. Then we can just add that method. We'll say public get dynamic entities. This needs to return dynamic entities. We're going to have like just a variable that caches all of them. So we can easily differentiate them without having to you know, I could also do a map. But whatever. Maybe a map would be better. Entities, entity map. So if this was a map, and then we had something like a type or something. The issue is I'm going to have to like go through every entity and then specify a type, if it's dynamic or static. I think if there's like a different way we can do this. Right now, there's only one way to differentiate if it's a dynamic versus a static entity, and that's using the boundary. Everything is, there's like this boundary which only lives on the server. I have this is server only Boolean. And we use that for when you try to walk over like the tree tiles, or the forest tiles, I mean. Let's just start with my first approach, and I can think about it this longer later on. Dynamic entities is just an array. And then we're going to figure out like where in the code do we care about this. So I think like when we add an entity, we can check if entity.getType equals entities.boundary. We could push it into here. Okay, second thing we could do. Oh wait, no, if it doesn't equal that. Okay, so now we got to figure out get entities to remove, prune entities, get nearby enemies. I think there's also like a remove. Let's see where this is being used. Get entities to remove, mark entities for removal, pushes this in. And then somewhere I think this gets looped over. We filter it down, but then we should probably know track entities removal. This removes it from the entities to remove, because then it goes through and it like removes it from the players. Let's do that. If the type is not a boundary, and this is where it's getting a little bit messy. Right now, I'm just going to go up here and say like static entities is equal to boundary. I want to make this cap. I'll make this like this. And then we can go and find where we just changed that code. Why is this complaining? Boundary. If the entity does not include the static boundary, I think I need to type this. That'll make it happy. Okay. That's a little bit easier. So if it's not static, again, it'd probably be easier to say is dynamic entity. We'll just invert that. We'll push it to the dynamic entities, and then somewhere down here we also say, I'll say const is dynamic entity. If it is, we need to splice it from there. Let's just see if the game still works. Okay, I can still walk around. I can still pick stuff up. I can drop stuff. And do I die? Yeah. But again, what are we trying to do? We're trying to improve the performance of a certain section of our update function. Let's go back and look at what we're doing. Let's go to the update function, go down to where we have this stuff. So now this should return just the dynamic entities, which we push in when new entities are created and we remove when other entities are removed, right? And so I think instead of saying filtered entities here, we don't need to do this weird part. I feel like it just like changed something on me. Yeah, I don't even, let's just do this like this. Get the dynamic entities for each one. And there's ways you can like do a for loop. I think technically a for loop's a little bit faster. And then even bringing in like a let I equals might be a little bit faster in terms of benchmarking. But at this point, I don't remember. All right, so I think we have the old profile here. And then this track entity over here is getting called. How many times? All right, let me just go to the debugger and see if I can run another profiler. Do 10 seconds. I think it's actually taking longer. I think there's a bug right now. Eating up a lot of time. Broadcast event, broadcast event. Change entity. All right, let's also just do a, oh, we already have a time end here. Might be easier just to look at that, honestly. Hope I can do like a, I'm gonna try this real quick. I feel like I made it a lot slower, didn't I? I don't feel like it's 38 seconds before. I don't know what I did. But let's look at this real quick. Yeah, I mean, these don't seem like they're that high. Hmm. I look like Aaron Francis. Yeah, I know him. Another YouTuber. Cool guy. I played on my iPad. It was lagging so much it made my iPad heat up. I mean, it is TypeScript after all, and I don't know I don't know what I'm doing. So I would not doubt it. Is a rule I use to catch unused imports. Typescript ESLint. No one use vars. I have that rule, I believe, but I just don't. Maybe I don't. Is it a WebSocket server? It's WebSocket server, yes. Manpreet, you don't need to paste the same thing like 7 times. Like, one message is enough. Don't you think it's kind of inconsiderate to post the same message this many times? Like, think about others, you know? Oh yeah, here's another crazy part. Okay, first of all, I'm not sure why it's using up that much. Let me try it in a node. Let's try it here. I think the debugger might have some overhead to it. Yeah, this is getting like there. Stop. I can't even stop it. What's going on? Bro, I can't even stop this game. What is going on here? Oh no, everything uses Node these days, huh? All right, so I'm going to do this and then check this out. Average this. Okay, that did not to do what I wanted it to do. Like it's trying to change my code. Wait, therefore your average is, yeah, here we go. So we'll just keep this as a baseline. Because we want to, like, as we're doing the refactoring, I mean, like, you need to verify that what you're doing is actually doing something, right? So in fact, I'll just, yeah, that's good enough. So we could dive in the track entity and then see if there's something in here that could be improved. Now, one thing I'm seeing is we're doing json.parse, and then we're stringifying the JSON object. This is probably going to eat up a lot of CPU cycles. In fact, I don't know why we're doing this. The second thing is we're doing date now. Every single update tick. I don't know if date now is very expensive. I doubt it's a very expensive thing, but I mean, if you're calling 1,000 times over and over again, it could be. And so let's first go to the update. And I feel like we have a current time already. Okay, so maybe it makes sense to actually pass in the current time, and then we could just add it as a, what I call it, current time. Yeah, let's just add it. Okay, so now that we made a teeny little change, you could just rerun, re-average, and see if that improved anything. Now, from the looks of it, it looks a little faster. Now, I only have 24 samples, but it's 2.83 milliseconds now. After the, what refactoring was this? After refactor of passing in the current time, we now have 2.813 milliseconds. And obviously, you'd probably want more data samples, so like let it run for a little bit. Because doing an average of 24, like that's probably not very significant to get a true average. So let it run for a little bit, and then we'll just snap. We know this is like 5-second interval, so this prints out every 5 seconds. We could literally just scroll up here and find out where it prints out again. Oh, we don't have it. I think I got killed by a zombie. So let's just go to the very start. So when the night starts, all the way up until we pass 5 seconds. Actually, no, this looks like it's a little bit more. I don't know. I probably need a better way to like debug. Total samples. Okay, so this actually clean. Does this improve at all? I think I need to keep on getting better samples. Another thing we could do is like just let's see how long it takes to do like a date now. Like how long does this take to run? And then hopefully it's not something that gets like compiled out or something. So here's another way you can do it. So like you'll see that now takes about 0.003 milliseconds, okay? And then if you were to actually list out, okay, how many dynamic entities do we have? Let's just print out the length here. So we have 846. Okay, so again, 846 times by what this is. So 846 times 0.003. What is this? 2.538 milliseconds. So that's at about how long it's taking just to do a date.now call that many times. If I'm understanding my math correctly, like date now. And there's overhead to doing console.time. Like there's also performance. I think it's performance.now. Performance.now. What is this? You could also do this. Instead of the daytime. things like performance.now minus G. There. Let's see if that changes anything. I mean, it's basically the same, 0.0027, 0.0012. Looks like it fluctuates. But I guess my point is that like if you run over this 800 times, in fact, if you just do this, this is probably another way to get a more accurate estimate, is run the same thing, date.now, and we can just go ahead and 846. I can just grab this whole thing, run it inside the loop, put the performance now outside of the loop. I guess this will tell us what the difference is between date console logs and the performance now. Okay, so 0.449 milliseconds. This gave 0.8 milliseconds. Yeah, so I guess performance now is more accurate. Right? Yeah, if you go to the repo, you can try to run this in Bun. That'd be fine. I'm not going to do it right now. I don't think I have Bun installed. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, I guess I'm just trying to show like there's ways to like try to do little teeny optimizations. You could do like console.time to get a general idea of like, okay, how slow is this actually? Performance on now is supposed to be more accurate. And so in fact, if I probably just did now, might be just a lot more verbose, you know? It's like then, now, then minus now. Cool. So what we could also do okay, here we go. Actually, is performance now in milliseconds? Is performance now in milliseconds? Okay. So basically, we're going to loop over all these entities, and for every single one, we push it into this track entity method. In fact, this seems much lower than I was actually talking about. Am I doing this wrong? Then and now, subtract then. Oh, okay, hold on a second. Let's try not passing a date again. Now, at this point, we're just playing around with the code. Like, I want to make sure what I'm changing actually does something, and I'm not just like wasting time. So I'm going to revert that small little change back and see what we get. Notice that we get 5.08, 2.9. Like, these are huge numbers in terms of like trying to keep that update function tight. Okay, so I think this definitely improves it. Current time versus if you were to change it to be able to be passed in like we did. Going from 3.7 milliseconds, 3.8 milliseconds. Oh wait, it's the same? Okay, you know what? Am I saving my files correctly? Where we just did this. Current time. Oh, man. Let me get rid of the length of this stuff. Hold on. Now, honestly, I don't know how much you can trust an LLM to average your stuff. Let's try it again. Yeah, so I don't know if that actually did much. I don't think it did much, honestly. I think my math was wrong somewhere along the way, but I guess doing it, like, let's just ask, does date.now take some time to execute in Node? Typically, it takes less than a microsecond, but if we're doing it 800 times, like, I would have thought I would have seen like more time savings there. Is my math just completely wrong? I was doing date.now in a loop over 800 items, and you said it takes around this to run. If I instead, how much total time would that take? I mean, you just do like 800 times that number, and it would give you like 0.8 milliseconds. But then, like, the difference we were seeing was not 0.8, right? I would have expected the difference be like going from 2.5 to 3.5 or 3.3 or something, you know? So I don't know. What says you, chat? Any straight up math I just don't trust with AI. Also gets world letters and counts wrongs. Yeah, I should probably actually just use Node to evaluate it. Or does Wolfram Alpha still exist? Hold on a second. Let's see. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but like this back when you're trying to learn math, this thing was legit. So like this is with the, I don't know which approach we're at right now. This is before the change. I wonder if this will actually work. I haven't used Wolfram Alpha since college. Average and standard this set of numbers. Wait. Dang. That doesn't work anymore. Okay, you know what? This is stupid. We're gonna go ahead and just do like a this util. I'll do util math. Wait, where am I? Packages, game shared. I want the server. I want source. Maybe I do need to put it there. Math.ts, I'll say export function, get average. Array of numbers. Okay, there we go. Export function, get standard deviation. Function, get median. And we'll say export function, get stats. There. And now the reason I did this is because we could probably instead take this whole list somewhere. I'll just say convert this to an JSON array. And then instead of, I'll do here, I'll say like Let's just do temp. Go ahead and copy this in. Const numbers equals console log get stats. Make sure you import that. Okay, so npx tsx source temp. You know, I'm actually going to go here to the server. What's it called again? I'll just call it script, whatever. This is just a temporary thing. And then I can go into the game server and then cd packages, game server, and then, gosh, npm run script. Okay, it took a little bit of upfront thing. There's probably a faster way I could do this. But now what this allows me to do is I could just go ahead and put this and say, before refactoring, we have this. And this is probably going to be a lot more accurate than asking ChatGPT to summarize stuff. And so now we can go, I'll actually rename this to like, what should I call this? I'll just call it performance, whatever. Because I feel like this will actually be like useful in the future. And then also we could probably find a way to like, there has to be something that's built in already to like not have to use the whole profiler to see how long stuff takes over an average. Maybe I should just be doing that, but there's just something nice about the console log. And then you could actually go here and probably like, let me try something. So I want to go ahead and just say import class performance tracker. Okay. And then we want to, when you construct it, const numbers is equal to, and now we're just like playing around with stuff. I'm playing around with this idea of like, okay, I could actually just say like track, taking a string or key, just like the performance now stuff. So we'll just track it by key, and then if it like doesn't exist, if there is no track match, you add it. Otherwise, you can do performance now, and then when you end it, you could say, why is that a pop though? Get the key. Yeah, I could just keep pushing things into this. So if it doesn't exist, yeah, I'm gonna do this actually. Different idea. All right, this could be a number. And then we basically just, to track it, we're just going to put that amount in. Doesn't exist, we'll push it, and we'll create it and we'll push it. Okay, so you might ask, why am I adding this? I don't know at this point, honestly. There's probably a funner way to do this, but I just got sidetracked big time. And instead of like having to call it on the command line and do all this other stuff I was doing, we basically just rewrote performance like a console.time, right? With some extra averages that print out, which could be kind of useful for debugging. So like if we go back to the server and go back to the update method, why does this not have an update method? Am I crazy? Update. Because I had regex search on. There we go. Yeah, so now instead of doing all this crap, we could just say, oh, I need to make a performance tracker. So let's go here. We'll say private performance tracker. Put in utils. Here we go. And then we can go down here and like initialize one in the constructor, which I guess we could just go ahead and do up there. Import it. And down here, we'll just push that in, track entity. And then we'll just print the stats. Let's just try this out and see what happens. This is totally unnecessary to do, but okay, why is that not working? Track now versus then. Now versus then. Track entity. This should have printed out an array. If the track map doesn't have the key, go ahead and add one. And then we are going to get that array and then push amount into it. Get stats. Oh, I need to actually say what key I want to get. That's why. I think that's the issue. All right, so if you let it run for long enough, it should just keep pushing stuff into it. Although, why is mean going up? Is that not strange? That's like making mean go constantly up. Yo, we totally got sidetracked. Like what I'm doing right now is not important. You know, I should probably just put this right here. Yeah, that's good. Is the average, what is this doing? Reduce, adds them together, and then divides it by the number of things in the list. Yeah, I mean, this should work, right? This adds them all together and divides by the length. Is that not weird that like... More side management list. Yeah, I know I could do a npm run workspace, but then you have to type all this extra stuff. I don't know. Close out of that. I feel like I haven't done anything in this stream, honestly. I haven't done anything. Now versus then, like I don't, okay, so like when I run this, performance now, then, now and then, now minus then. Maybe it's pushing a bunch of like large numbers into this. Actually, what I wonder is like it just keeps adding zombies and never killing them or something. Yeah, I don't get why this would be creeping up for infinity. Unless it keeps on adding more and more dynamic entities. That's the only reason I think this will go up. And that could be a possibility. All right, so after the first night, we have 883. Ah, that is the issue. It doubles. Okay, so we're trying to make the game server faster, but we actually have a bug that's making it slower over time. And that could be why the server seems to crash. But also, why is tracking performance going there? Track performance. I think this probably should be at the very end. This is the thing that like prints out, print the final performance metrics over time. Okay. At some point, we're supposed to go through and clean up dead entities. I think what's happening is when the game server ends, is game over. End game. Entity manager clear. That's it. I forgot to clear out dynamic entities. It's a brand new game. Wait. In-game clear. It has a timeout. I think that has to be it. All right, let's just try it again. All right. So 883 is how many we have. 778 is how many you have. Okay. We fixed it. Now we have this cool tool that we could basically use in our code base. I think we could probably improve it a little bit. The interface for using it sucks. But actually, let's just improve it real quick. So I'm going to say track, and then we're going to, instead of pushing in an amount here, we're going to just do performance.now, and then we're going to have a public track end, and then we're going to I think doing this might actually work. So instead of tracking and like we'll just put it in here. So if the thing doesn't exist, we do performance now. Otherwise, I mean, like you've called it wrong. You can't call track twice, so you have to have a space in between them. And then we'll do an end over here, which is just going to say get the start if it exists. Might actually be explicit about this. Wait, this is a string. That's a number. Yeah, it's a number, so I want to be explicit about this. I'm going to say if it's equal to undefined. And then we basically initialize a track map, and then we do a difference between them, and then we delete. And then you're printing the stats. Yeah, I think this should work. But the difference is now we can just say performance tracker start track. I'll just say track, and then over here. Okay, it really wants me to do track start for some reason. Like the AI cannot figure out the way I was trying to do it. We can make this better though. We could probably make this better. So print stats. Print all stats. There you go. And then it's going to Print that right there. All right, so do this at the end. And then there's probably a way we can say like if there isn't any keys, it wouldn't do anything, right? So I think that's good. If you just let it run for a while. You guys having fun? Yeah, let's just stop it. That's good. Grab this. Okay, this is a more accurate representation. And the whole reason we did this whole like side quest is because I want to be able to track the difference between doing a start. Up here I could say like start time. Okay. Why is this not working? Oh my gosh. Update time. There you go. And then over here, pass in the current time that we have. So now we could just rerun this. And if this doesn't reduce in runtime, like then I don't know what I was reading. Like date.now must have an internal cache. Why is it going down so low now? Oh, okay, here's another issue with my testing. The game randomizes the starting entities. And so if one game starts with a bunch more entities, like in this game, all these like bushes and whatever, they have update calls and they have to go through. And I think they're considered dynamic. They're not static. And so we have to like fix the constraints of how this works if we want to actually like properly test and do performance of anything, right? So the constraints are anywhere you're doing math randoms, like you have to basically not randomize it anymore. So to achieve that, that might be kind of hard. I could just not spawn start items and just simply have entities. I could simply just check the zombies. Because zombies I spawn like 100 at the start of every match. So that might be a more accurate. Again, testing is hard. People tell you testing is very hard because you have to make sure everything is basically uniform between your tests. And this weapon spawn chance just throws a whole wrench into that. I think also the zombies, because the zombies are random. Are they? No, the zombies aren't random. They have random spawn locations. So even like a spawn location, not for this test, but in some testing, you could try to track performance, but because they spawned clustered together in one of your test cases, that could skew your performance. But in terms of what we're testing with the date.now, like probably not important. So where does spawn zombies get called? On night start, spawn the zombies. Okay, but we're looking at map manager. And somewhere this spawns items. Okay, we could just literally comment this out. And we'll start with the same amount of force boundaries every game. So now if I restart the game, I need to actually like switch back to the other thing real quick too. So there's nothing on the map. It's just empty. And this should hopefully give us a better representation. If you just let it run for a while, eventually it should converge to an amount and not change, I would hope. 94, medium is 87. Yeah, I think this might have converged somewhat. Let me just do it one more. It's still going down some. Am I testing the right thing? Am I crazy? Like, does this logic sound correct? Like, if you let it run for long enough and all you're doing is pushing a bunch of things into an array. We'll go with this. Let's just go with this. Seems like it gets lower every time though. Okay, jump back up. And I think we're kind of good enough. And this is with what? This is with you go to update, go to the bottom. This is with passing in the current time. So this is with the changes. So this is after refactoring, before refactoring. This is what we got to figure out. So before the refactoring, we're going to go here. Literally, this is just, this whole stream has been on this one method. How is this faster though? Like, am I crazy? The mean was 3.29. Wait, no, this is the wrong one. 0.77. This one's actually faster. I must have something wrong. Pass a closure and time it instead. Public track func. Oh, yeah, that'd be a good idea. Like the closure itself could return a stop or something. Implement a seed method like Minecraft. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Where are you getting the game graphics? I found online for free. I think if you go to contributing, our credits, I think there's like a credits file. Yeah, they're right here. The tile sheets is from itch.io. There's this guy who has a free to use tile sheet. Yeah, this is just so crazy. Before the refactoring is actually faster. I don't get that. I literally don't get that. Oh, because I didn't save the file? Is that why? Just let this run for a little bit. I think mean is deceiving because if like we get a couple of really, really slow game update loops, it's going to throw up the mean. But the median, I think, from what I understand, is a more accurate representation. And then also the standard deviation, the lower that is, the more the numbers are kind of like close to each other, I believe. Okay, so what were we before? Standard deviation of 1.21. Median of 7.9. Bro. Am I just not understanding this? Are you guys good at math? Remove JSON test. Hey, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I mean, like this seems faster. It's also hard. Okay, so I think I'm also tracking zombies, right? Anyway, I don't think this is like a... I'll just change it just because it seems like it's more logical to do it, but I don't think it's actually changing the way this thing is running. Because I would think that the standard deviation would be lower after refactoring, right? So that like you're not dependent on the date.now function anymore. So like there's not a function call, which I think would probably use more memory and stuff. Yeah, this is... I'm going to keep it out. I think we're not actually tracking the right stuff. I think it's because this maybe changes up how stuff works. And so if I can find a way to get rid of this, the serialized, let's see how much like that JSON thing does. Okay, so now it's like a 10th or 20th of the amount, I think. Let me go over here. Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that. Like, that wasn't even necessary. All right, so that was changing one line of code. So it went from 0.67 to 0.07, almost 0.6. So I think we've improved this a little bit. And that's a big enough win of a performance. I need to make sure the game still works, though. So let me go ahead and clear that out. Yeah, let's see. Walk around. Let me go back and add in some of the things that we were trying to add in before. Is that the actual baseline? 3.23 milliseconds? Hold on. I don't know why my results are so much different. At one point, we were getting 3.23 milliseconds. I don't know how we were getting that slow. I feel like console time was just lying to us. But anyway, I think it's faster. Like if we were to just go ahead and just try console time, see what this gives us. Look at that. Now it's at like this. That's a huge difference if that was what it actually was before. So let's just go ahead and call that a win. And then I can push that to the server, assuming that I don't have any bad code. Don't need that. This should be good. Need to spawn the items again. Oh, I know why it was so, because we were spawning the items. That probably changed a lot. Let's actually try that again. It was this before. Wow. That's a big win. Yeah, that went from like 3 all the way to this. So it's like, usually when you're doing these optimizations, from what I've seen, it's usually like one little area in your code base that you have to change. And then all of a sudden you just shaved off like tons of time of the overall process. So like if I were to, let's just ship this. I hope this works. I'm going to say fixing big performance. Removing the JSON stringify, which was eating into CPU time. And I think I remember putting that code there, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be bad later on. And here's the later on, you know? Sometimes you add tech debt to your system because you're like, I have something more important to do, and that's make a prototype. I need to make sure this thing actually works. I need to get it deployed somewhere so I can have people play it, and I can get a better understanding of what I'm building. And then you come back later, and you try to improve the performance of stuff by leaving little comments or little to-dos throughout, like, okay, to-do, this is going to be slow, and you can choose, do you want to fix it right now? Maybe spend a whole day trying to fix it, or do you want to fix it in the future? Just don't let it add up, right? Technical debt is called debt for a reason because there's interest you have to pay. Every time you put code that's sloppy into your code base, it just becomes harder and harder to get rid of it later on. And you're going to have to get rid of it at some point, or you just won't be able to make progress. So let's I think it's deploying now. So if you guys want to play, I don't know if it's fully deployed out, but I have my server logs going. I don't know if the server updated. I think having a version displayed in the server could be actually pretty useful. I might do one more deploy real quick for you guys. Yeah, let's see how many people, if you guys are watching, let's see how many people we get in this game. At what point is this game going to fall apart? That might be something fun to find out. At 11 players, okay. All right, so it's daytime, so go out there and explore. Pick up some ammo. And then also if you find a weapon, you can pick that up and you can like throw it in base. So like it's cool to go and pick up a bunch of weapons for your teammates. Although there's not that many pistols in this game. Alright, and then the night starts soon. Got 20 players. Is the game still running smooth for me? Oh, it's slow for you. Oh no. By the way, you can revive people. Okay, now it's getting laggy. I'm seeing the server logs lagged up for a second. Alright, some people have ping that's like through the roof. 2,000, 490, 130. So they're probably living in like different countries. 9,349. Like that doesn't seem accurate. There's your 100 zombies for you guys. Look at this guy trying to build a wall around him. Dang, he just got ganked. Oh, shoot. Yeah, everyone run around. I want to see if the game will like actually keep working. Did someone just like open a bunch of tabs? Give you God mode. That's an in-app purchase, okay? You can't just get God mode for free. This is gonna be the next Roblox. Yo, are you people actually in the game? Yeah, whoever's just opening tabs, I guess just keep on opening more, because I want to see at what point does this game just like absolutely topple. Okay, just open tabs, open a bunch of tabs, and reopen this game over and over again. I want to see at like how many total players does this whole thing fall apart. Okay, game is averaging 16 milliseconds a tick. And my bandwidth spike is probably going through the roof. Bro, look at all these people. Well, okay, I think that's is that enough tabs? No, I guess just keep going. 100 players, and it's still averaging 21 milliseconds to 25 milliseconds. Okay, now the zombie spawned, and it's struggling right now. Okay, you can stop opening tabs. I think we found the point where it no longer works. Yeah, I gotta mute this. It's too loud. Oh my gosh. Okay, close your tabs before you guys drain my bandwidth. Just hard to refresh. There we go. Will the server even recover from that? I don't even know. There's like 1,000 knives on the ground right now. Yeah, I might actually get rid of the spawning with a knife. Now that I see this is kind of an issue. I'm actually going to get rid of that. My ping's 126. Cool. I mean, it held up. I would like to get as many as I can. Using TypeScript probably is going to have some type of limit. Also, the difficulty. Let me close this. Let me write some to-dos down. Figure out a better approach for difficulty scaling. Because when 20 people are in the game, it spawns like 100 zombies. And it's too hard. What time is it? 2 hours and okay. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna end the stream. I think we made an actually decent performance optimization here. Just to not do that stringify, JSON stringify thing. So let that be a red flag to you, which I already knew at the time. If you write something with JSON stringify, JSON parse, like you're trying to like serialize something that way, probably just stop yourself then and there and like find a better approach to what you're trying to do. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Browser crashed. What's up, Josh? How's it going? You maxed out your M1 Max Pro. Oh, show us the bandwidth spike. Yeah, hold on. Let me. Have you also live streamed the initial video of this project from the start? I have not. Bandwidth used. I have 8 terabytes. Outgoing traffic. By the way, I'm just using a free server. This isn't sponsored. Here's that traffic spike. It went up to What's a gigabyte? I'll have to come back. I don't think they update every 45 minutes they update. I don't think there's a way to like zoom in or anything, but yeah, decent amount of spike in traffic there. Incoming traffic's not that big. You guys barely send any traffic with your WebSocket events. Are y'all watching from like far away? Like I'm wondering why your pings. I think these are like when people disconnect. Oh, there we go. Someone closed their whole browser. Thank you. Average update time 2147. Also curious why the update time is so long. I think we have all these zombies that need to be looted, and they're still updating. So technically I have a bunch of things. I think I should make them auto loot when the round ends. Bro, there's like 1,000 zombies right here that are dead. I don't know how they all died here. Huh. Anyway, just stuff to think about. It's an iterative process for me. I don't really know what I should be adding, where to focus my efforts on. But I will say that performance is still the most important thing. Like I need to fix the front end performance because right now I believe you can zoom out and it's trying to render all of these things. Okay, so that's the next area. I think the server performance is good enough. There's a lot of things I want to improve on it, but the client side rendering, I'm going to get rid of the zoom and just everyone's going to be fixed to a certain zoom level. And then I'm going to make sure that I don't render out entities that are outside of my field of vision, because that's just wasteful. But thank you guys for joining. Hope you guys had fun. And honestly, I'm just going to keep on working on this. If you guys want to contribute, you can join my Discord and ask questions. Again, I'm just looking for people to add like features, which include like new weapons, zombie types, UI improvements, stuff like that. The trees could be on an array if I made a grid system. Yeah, I think I might bring in the idea of a grid system, especially when you're trying to put down blocks. Right now, it feels weird that like when you drop a block, that it just like goes anywhere. Is it fair to say that the daytime is too short? I always try to build walls and run out of time. I think it is fair to say, like, I need to find a balance of how many seconds players need to build and explore. And yeah. Also, yeah, if you're going through a VPN, I bet you it's even more bandwidth. Like it's gonna be hard to play game through a VPN, but oh, that lagged so bad. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do something. I forget. Oh yeah, make the daytime longer. Make the nighttime shorter. Maybe keep the nighttime as is. Cool. Well, catch you guys around. Thanks for joining, and